Thank you.
I brought my agenda. I got the minutes of last one.
One minute, one agenda.
I have one agenda, but no minutes.
John, we don't know, if John's gonna be here. You need agenda?
Yeah, the agenda six, we all need to follow along where we are.
Operator?
I'll do the moderating.
Thank you.
I second that.
Correction to and approval of the past minutes of April 7, 2028. Minutes of meeting.
I didn't see any corrections. If no one else did, I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Changes to the agenda. Not hearing anything, we'll move on to correspondence.
I got a email from the New Haven Library, Jared Giacovani. And he wants to put up a little library. This is one of those little lending libraries. And he wants to do it with the tri-state mark. At the marker.
So you know, Karen, Jared's on.
Okay, good, okay, so.
The parking lot would be better, I think.
Well, so we need to discuss it, and if Jared's here, so. The marker, I mean, my feeling is the marker, who's gonna go up there and one, take care of it, two, carry books up and down. So, yeah, we have options of that parking lot, which is gonna be all renovated, or the Mechanicsville parking lot. I think he wants to spread them out through town. So anybody else have other ideas of where might be a good spot, or Jared, would you like to say something?
Venus.
Sure.
Oh, that's the thing, is it's a state park, so we have to get permission if we do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm whatever works easiest. I did do a little bit more research on the tri-state point. While it would be cool for it to be out there, it would be with the rocks and everything would make it difficult for us to get it installed and load it. However, I know that there is a good swath of town-owned land that's nearby, at least from what I've gathered from the selectmen and kind of the Nat Geo website, I think it is, that shows different properties. I think one of the paths are along it. You guys would know best. My thought for it is that we're trying to spread it out in different locations in the town. This one would be kind of a smaller one because we kind of figured there's not going to be probably too many people going out there, but the idea of it was that it would be kind of a little bit of a novelty sort of thing, a little bit of a tourist attraction for people to see. It also honors one of our board members who recently passed away. This is all being funded by donations to the library, to the memorial fund for the passing of Mary Fatsey. And this was something that we thought would be really cool. It would get the library out in the community, encourage people to read, and who doesn't like finding a book in an unexpected place, especially on a path when you're going through the woods or kind of hiking the trails and enjoying nature, was kind of the idea behind it. So
You don't think, is it important that there be a place people can park at that point?
There can be, if it's on a trail too and people are going through there, it would be one in terms of, there was a question about who would be managing it in terms of catching if there's any damage and making sure that we keep it refilled. Library staff would regularly go out, probably to keep it topped off, make sure that there's no damage that's done to it. And we would probably do this less often than the other ones that we would have at different locations throughout the town, probably once a month. Going there and just checking in, see if it needs more books and whatnot. If it's near one of the parking lots, that might be a great spot. If it's a little bit into one of the trails or like a popular spot on one of the trails, that would be another good location. As I said, talking to you guys, you would know the trails best. I'm still familiarizing myself with the town of Thompson and all of the different nooks and crannies that are here. But I'm very excited that we can sit and have this conversation about being able to bring more resources to the public.
Jared, have you been to the Tri-State Marker yet?
I have been meaning to. I have not had a chance to.
Guess what? On Saturday morning, there's an organized hike sponsored by the Trails Committee going from the parking lot on East Thompson Road up
All
to
right.
Tri-State Marker.
Oh, that's cool. That sounds cool.
Why don't you join us? You can find out all about it. What time
I'll
is
see
it?
what time is it?
9 in the morning.
Early in the morning?
9.
9 o'clock on Saturday morning.
9 in the morning. I have commitments at that time, but you know what? I'll see if I can try and make it work.
I think
All
you
right.
should. You'll be surprised what opportunities are out there, and it's a good idea. This book, little library thing's a good idea, but I'm not sure about up there. But
Hey, Jared, have you given thought to the content of these books? Would they be, if it's gonna be on a trail, are you going to look to have trails related books, nature, trees, botanicals, things that people might be on the trail would be interested in, as opposed to just general fiction and that type of thing?
Yeah. So what we've done with in the past, and having worked in other library systems, we get from kind of a wholesale sort of book depot sort of thing online. And it's kind of what they have, and they can kind of offer a whole range of different things. At least our initial donation into it, we will try and kind of focus on what the area is. So nature related books, stuff for all ages. So probably some nice nature books for little kids as well. You know, hiking in the woods with my parents sort of books. There's plenty of those out there. And then any nonfiction books about trees or plants we'll certainly put in there. And we have the ability to do that kind of initial purchase with that. And just to clarify, these books would be a take one, leave one system, so they wouldn't be attached to a catalog or anything like that. These are essentially, you know, if you see it and you take one book, and you're able to leave one, awesome. If not, that's fine, as long as you return one later, sort of thing. And we would use donations from the public, items that are worked out of the collection, either because of low circulation or whatever reason, to kind of keep these boxes filled for the long term.
Hey, Jared, I have a question. Are you talking about going through the licensed Little Free Library program?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Just checking. No, I know what they look like, but there's a licensed program, and then there's nothing stopping any one of us from putting a little thing in the front. We just can't call it a Little Free Library because that's trade.
Can I ask a question? Where is this spot that you talked about that's town-owned property?
Yeah, so there was on one of the trails, I have to pull up, I don't have my notes right in front of me at this time. But when I was looking through one of the trails there's a few good locations near that spot that show are near the trails, that are owned by the town. I just have to find that link.
Close
But
to the Tri-State Marker, you're saying?
yeah, the Tri-State Marker, according to online, is owned by the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The town owns about 36 acres of land that goes up to that area.
Yeah.
From along the airline trail. Now it's woods, and we'll be walking on it on Saturday. It's nice, but it doesn't. there's not too many places along, I think it'd be interesting to get up to the top of the tri-state marker and see a box that's got, you know, trails in Massachusetts or trails in, you know, anywhere.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be carrying one to put in.
Oh,
Also, if you haven't already, well, you probably already have, but if you haven't already opened a Book Depot account, I actually already have one in the town's name.
oh, good. Yeah,
So,
we have one that's already at nonprofit status sort of thing. We use that for, you know, getting books for prizes at the end of the summer reading program and for a number of different things that we do. So we kind of have some of the stuff already set up for it. But in terms of purchasing, it's kind of, we don't know what we'll find, but usually they have something on those topics. And I can share the link to the type of box if you're able to show that on there.
I can give you screen share.
Okay, yeah, hold on just a
Um,
second.
Oops, that's giving me screen share. I want to give you.
So I have a question. The Mechanicsville lot, is that entirely owned, state-owned land? Or does town have a piece of that?
Don't know.
I don't know.
I don't
Sorry,
know,
was-
I don't think they're
What
that,
was the question, Karen?
The whole parking lot at Mechanicsville, is that all part of the state park or some of it's town land?
I do not know, but I can probably
if-
figure it out very quickly by looking at the
If we
parcel
were gonna
maps.
talk about like spreading these out, the other, in your email, you had said also, the other locations you're looking at is Town Hall, Town Green, and possibly the Quinnebog Trailer Park.
Correct, yeah.
So you kind of want to have these in different, you know, spread out around town, which is why I thought maybe Mechanicsville would hit another whole neighborhood that you have.
Wilsonville Road has that playground area that's town-owned
The
property.
Pompeo,
That would be a good
Oh,
spot.
yeah, up in that area.
that's town, right? I think
That's owned by the town and it's got kids' playground equipment on it. It's just on the east edge of the Wilsonville part of town.
Gotcha.
Pompeo Road, is that where that joins at?
Yeah,
Yep.
Let's see, I am seeing if I can find that source that was shared with me a little. I cannot remember the name of me for the life of me right now. Geo.
Is that it?
No, we do have trails on town property. We got the one right over here between the library and the gazebo.
right, but it's kind of close to the
I
library.
know it is, but it's part of what he said.
Well,
Like,
he's
you're
saying-
walking along and you see it there.
But one of them is Town Hall, and that's what we.
Yeah.
So it does look like we do in fact own 133 Riverside Drive or 0 Riverside Drive, which is near 133 Riverside Drive.
Oh, okay.
That looks like, at least that's what the parcel map data tells me.
That would be easier to access, whether you're either taking books out or putting books in
Or
and,
maintaining.
and,
right?
and.
All of those things.
Yeah,
Yeah, it might be easier if you're arrived there,
Yeah.
you go to the thing, you take it and put it back in your vehicle,
Yeah.
rather than.
And then get on the
something
trail.
All the way up, you know, and all the way back, you know.
yeah.
Places like where the volunteer fire halls are in town, that's town property, isn't it?
No,
Privately owned,
Oh, wow.
But that would probably be easier to get a permission.
right?
Than going through
Mhm.
really deep, yeah.
Let me see.
Okay,
Since Connecticut, I'm seeing if I'm-
Interesting program, and I'm not opposed to it, but I don't think that. Walk up to the marker and you'll decide if you want to put a box up there.
I don't disagree on many things, but I'm saying as far as if I'm walking in the woods, I'm not looking to exchange books
That's the thing.
or to carry one all the way in that, you know what I mean? But I would gladly pull into the parking lot at the Tri-State Marker if I'm gonna take a hike and probably do an exchange or go to Mechanicsville if I'm gonna take the trail there or
And I
something.
think even if the town doesn't own the property at the parking lot, I don't envision that the 12 state airline trail people are gonna say, you can't do it.
All right, so I'm looking at the map geo. And so it looks like the walking trail, the start of the walking trail over there, is owned by the town along Rocky Brook. That is owned by the town. And I can screen share if that works.
Yeah, I gave you permission to screen share.
Okay, so let me go to,
Rocky Brook, that's where the culvert trail is.
Yes.
But that's again, hiking in with no vehicle access.
share.
That's correct, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Well,
It's,
that is actually off of New Road.
Off of New
because
Road.
We have,
oh, off of
We
New
have it.
Road, does it
We have it.
really, is it
like, there's no
obvious
parking
though?
right
No, it's not.
there. So there's a right of way.
Yeah, see, it's a little bit of a break there at New Road. You can't quite see that property line. Now, where you got your cursor now, you're correct. That's owned by the town and it's right next to the airline trail. And there's a bridge that goes over the top of that. But
Mhm.
again, it's not the kind of area, it would be a surprise to find books there.
Be surprised to find people
Yeah.
walking there. Not too many people walk that trail.
They don't.
Because
Gotcha.
where it comes out by the road right there, it
Yeah.
doesn't really come out by the road right
You
there.
can't park there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, but if you follow that straight north,
Hmm.
up where Rocky Brook goes underneath there, right in that area, where it jagged, towards the north, towards the Massachusetts line.
Yep,
Far.
right here.
Don't go too far.
Yep.
There's a path that goes from where that says Southern New England Turnpike, and it
Mhm.
goes through the woods, straight down from there, through the woods, and loops around up to the tri-state marker.
Gotcha.
Then, that's town-owned property and there's a trail on it, but it's,
So
Yeah, a little out of the way.
let's look at the other ones first.
Certainly.
We can
So,
go
So
back.
Mechanicsville?
Well, even tonight, I mean, we can't really make a decision on it tonight. Can we?
Yeah.
He's gotta make decisions.
Well, you're gonna do the installation, right?
Yeah, talking with
just
the
wanted to
town
know-
that we may be able to
We
have
wanted-
the,
Mechanicsville makes sense, the other
Yeah.
end, less so.
So I have some thoughts, Jared, and we have I think we have a staff meeting on it's either this Thursday or next Thursday.
Mhm.
Where, since that's actually at the town level, maybe we can talk about some of this stuff. Of the options that you guys are discussing tonight, I agree, the Mechanicsville
Makes
parking
sense.
lot is more forward facing. It's just an easier spot for something like this. But if you really wanted to have something on the other portions of the airline trail, Lion, maybe is there still an active letterboxing program with TLGV?
There is, I don't know I'm not a letterboxer, so I don't know where those locations are.
There's,
So that might be
Understand
sort of
that.
another interesting thing to explore in partnership with TLGV, and I can put you in touch with them to see if they want to add a letterbox location, which would be library adjacent, but wouldn't involve schlepping books.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I mean, I like the Mechanicsville parking lot as the location for it, because that's an entrance to it. It's near the woods. I mean, we don't mind driving out to the locations that would be part of our outreach for it.
how do you feel about mowing?
Oh, yeah, you can drive on our mower.
Oh my. We could
Watch
try
out, we're looking for volunteers, whether you know it or not.
that. Well, I think we got a good start here. A lot of food for thought. I mean, thank you so much for listening to us on this. I mean, do you guys want to see the boxes that we were kind of thinking of to give you guys of what it would look like?
I can pull it up on my computer. I say, did a screen. Oh, you got it.
There we
Okay.
go.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is what it would be like. As I said, it would be kind of the smaller version of it. That we would be getting. And then we would purchase a composite library post that would be to to put it on. And the little free, oh, sorry, wrong one.
So does it need a concrete pad?
Nope.
No, okay.
I mean, you can put concrete down into it to kind of anchor it, but it's designed to kind of go into the ground, and you can either pour concrete to have it in there. What they use down in my previous library I was at, they had kind of a foam that they sprayed in there that kind of anchored it to the ground as well.
I'm not gonna, my words of advice is to anchor it with cement probably, because
Yes.
otherwise it's gonna,
Mhm.
things tend to walk.
Yes, yeah, no,
At least,
so-
or at least jump away into the
Yeah.
bushes.
yeah. I know what you mean.
It's not that hard to mix up some concrete. We got a couple
No.
of projects we have to do now. Now we
Yeah.
can do them. Now we know where they're going to be for the bike repair.
Yeah. So, all right, yeah, no, we would be installing that. We do the Mechanicsville one. And I'd like to see the airline path to see what's going on over there to get an idea of it, because I can look at a map and kind of figure where things are, but it's a whole different thing to kind of until you get on the ground to see what's actually there, you know.
Now, well, make sure you introduce yourself to us. We'll be looking for you.
Absolutely. You'll see my face soon enough.
It's easy to find. You see that East Thompson Road is an extension of 193.
Oh yeah, yep.
Zoom, there you go, right on.
There we
up.
go. That works. Well, is there any other information that I can provide? I can stop sharing my screen if you'd like. So I'll click on the stop share. But is there any other information that I can provide for this? I think, we're very excited about this. The Board of Trustees are very excited about this. And it's good to kind of honor the memory, good to bring something to community while honoring somebody's memory who gave so much to the community. And we look forward to working with you guys to helping make this happen, and doing all sorts of good,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to any other correspondence?
I have a bunch of stuff from the state I'll talk about later.
Okay, finances?
I did not ask for a new report. I don't think much has changed from the last.
We're still at 14,000?
Except for the Porta-John bills.
Okay,
Nice.
all right. Do we have citizens' comments tonight?
We have a potential citizen coming, gentleman named Andrew. He's just named alternate on the Economic Development Commission. He is also at the meeting I was at prior to this, and he has a section to speak of. He might come over. He expressed interest in the turkey trot and helping with ideas for marketing and funding, and I suggested maybe he'd like to join this committee, but he is kind of very involved with other things.
Valerie's got her hand up in the Zoom room too.
Valerie?
Yep, good.
Valerie Clark, Malm Road. I expected to only have one comment, and unfortunately I have more. I'm disappointed about the correspondence. You should have received at least one, and I believe more than one, correspondences regarding the parking at the airline trail. So I'm surprised that wasn't covered. We talked about it at the last meeting, and you would have received those by now. Additionally, regarding this idea of putting things out on the trail, and this is not the first time it's been raised, our new library director probably isn't aware of how high crime this area of town is. You don't want to add things for people to destroy. Additionally, as an avid trail user, I am disappointed, and I look at things that are added to trails as trash. I want to be out in nature and I want to be surrounded by nature and not by human-made things. So I'm not in favor of putting items out on the trail to make it more interesting. Nature's interesting enough. We don't need humans to add to that. It's also, I don't feel a good use of the human capacity to be paying people to go out and hike a trail to put a book. I don't think that that's how we should be using our resources, to stock books out in the middle of the tri-state marker. It's just there's a lot of things that I disagree with about that idea. Sorry. I do think that if you need to put additional little free libraries around, that putting them somewhere easily accessible. Someone just asked me 2 weeks ago if I knew where the nearest free library was because they were looking to add to its collection. And I pointed them up to the one at Teague. So, the ones that are easily accessible are the ones that people are likely to use. And then I noticed that on the agenda is in fact a discussion about the parking at the airline trail. And I really want to know what's going to be done about that. I've been going by, and that area where the horse trailers are supposed to be parking, the only area that you can use as a turnaround to get into that parking space is being filled with regular cars. People are just pulling in and parking willy-nilly wherever, as close to the entrance as they possibly can. And they're blocking the ability for anyone with a trailer or a larger vehicle to come into that parking area. The signs are still up. They haven't been moved. They're still in a dangerous spot for anyone with a horse. So I'm hoping you'll address it.
Can I ask a question about that?
Yes.
Where would you suggest that they go? I don't know, I'm not a horse person, so I'm just saying, like, on the, because if it's not marked with horse trailer parking, then people will park there, I agree. So I get your part on the end where they're not good. So on the, like the side, like the road side or the parking lot side, should they be moved to there?
They should be moved to the front of the parking area off to the side. And you really need to just get rid of that strip that's supposed to be planted with trees between the two parking areas. Make it flat. Take a chapter out of Wyndham Land Trust's parking area up on Bull Hill. They did a fantastic job with that. And it's easily accessible. You can park a horse trailer there, no problem at all. There's plenty of room, and there's plenty of room for other people. This parking lot was designed like a grocery shopping parking lot that's intended to not let anybody run through the parking lot fast. And
I have to, excuse me, I have to say this. I have to say this. This subject came up at last month's meeting. I wasn't in the room, but I was emphatic, and I addressed you, Ms. Clark, by name and suggested that if you showed up there with a trailer before the contractors left, it might be fixed. Now you want us to fix something.
excuse me?
And I have no sympathy. I have no sympathy.
Excuse me, I not only showed up, I took pictures, I addressed this committee, I sent pictures, and I was told that the contractors were told about it and that they didn't take any action. It was before the parking lot was finished, so please do not chastise me. As well, the Bay State Trail Riders Club gave significant input to, including recommended sites for optimal design for that parking lot, and those recommendations were not followed. I am trying to get it fixed so it's usable. You also have correspondence that you have received as a committee that you have not addressed in this meeting, which you should have, regarding that from people who aren't me. I know about it because they've come to me because I'm on the board of directors for the Bay State Trail Riders Association.
Do you have other correspondence?
I saw Valerie's pictures and other people were on that, and I'm not a horse trailer person, so I'm.
But she apparently
But
thinks that
no, the
other people
other
also,
correspondence, no, I have not seen. If
I
it's-
don't believe they
if
came
it's-
through. But so there's
Then what-
Then you have a problem with your contact on the website, which I mentioned at the last meeting.
Well, I found that one, and I replied to that person, and I told her we had discussed it, and I.
And you didn't raise it at this meeting that you had received that correspondence or.
Well, that was because that was prior to the other meeting, and I found it and I responded to her. I have not seen more correspondence except for your pictures that went out to several people since the last meeting.
And that was not raised at this meeting either. So those are my comments. I'm looking for the issues to be fixed. Thank you.
Usually I don't cover correspondence that's on other parts of the agenda. I'll just say that, okay?
Okay, so.
But wait, I want to say one other thing, is that we went out there this morning and looked at the parking lot. And we tried to figure out how horse trailers would drive in, go ahead and then back up. I don't know how big the horse trailers are. I don't do horse trailers, but it looked doable to me. So I don't know.
And I would add that as a horse owner with a horse trailer, no, it's not a huge trailer. I'm not sure what Bay State Trail Riders is talking about. They have big groups. It's not designed, this parking lot is not big enough to handle multiple trailers or big groups. It was designed basically for 2 parking spaces. Maybe you could fit 3 side by side, that's tight, but there is plenty of room for 2. Now, for me, no, I can't back up a trailer, as John knows, when I try to drive our Trails Committee trailer. In fact, I had to move my trailer this week in my yard and had quite an adventure trying to turn it backwards and put it into place. I could never park in that parking spot. However, it's much better than what it was. It's appears, and I drove up there and checked it, to be plenty of length for a trailer, much longer than what my trailer is. And I have basically a full-size pickup pulling that trailer. Yes, you need to be able to back up the trailer to get out of it. But I don't see myself how that space can be made more friendly for trailers because of its size. It's got size, but it also needs that space
It
for
could be a
general
little wide.
hikers to park in. It's not designed to be a horse trailer parking lot.
Hmm.
But when the design came up, I was the one who even mentioned that we needed to have sufficient space for horse trailer parking. And this is what we were able to add to that plan with the space that we had.
Well, the first drawing that came out had horse trailer parking in it. Now, it was in there and refined a lot, but it's been addressed ever since the beginning. If it isn't optimal, that's life on earth, I guess, but when I have an opportunity to correct something before it gets set into concrete, I try to correct it.
I mean, for me, optimal is having a circular driveway. You can drive it straight in, drive straight out. That, if we were to do that there, we would have no parking left for anyone
anybody
else. We wouldn't have a spot for the water to drain in. It just isn't possible in that area.
In that area. But that's the area that, by just virtue of the fact that it was used for parking ever since the railroad went out.
Yes. I just want to say that I am not looking for a group event with horse trailers. I'm looking to be able to park 2, which was the original design was supposed to be 3. Looking to park the 2 trailers that we were promised almost a year ago, horse trailers. I sent pictures, and perhaps Mr. Leck will be sharing the pictures with the group tonight, of how difficult it was for me, who I am a very experienced horse trailer driver, to back the trailer, to even get the trailer into the lot. And I actually I saw Vern Butler the other day, and at a different meeting, and Vern commented that he didn't think he could get a trailer in there. It is not easy. You have to have that entire parking lot, that whole area empty of other vehicles in order to get a horse trailer in there. If you put a horse trailer in that parking space, and God forbid somebody comes and parks where that third trailer spot is, that's in front of the two others, you're not gonna get out. So, I'm just looking to get this corrected. That's what I'm requesting.
Well, I do agree if someone parks improperly across from it, it would be a problem. When I arrived there, someone was parked across from those spots, and if that was the case, yes, I wouldn't even be able to turn my vehicle into there. But that's a matter of people parking illegally anyway, so I don't know what you can do about that.
My first thought was you got a horse, you got a rope, pull the car out of the way.
Okay, moving on.
Okay.
You know, we'll
Thank
get-
you.
let's do the trail updates, the Alliance State Park Trail, Great East Thompson Train Rec Park. First thing was the parking area and now the turntable site status. Paul, where are we?
So I am going out there tomorrow to meet the contractor. Essentially an on-site look. I have a bill from him I have to put through to the state tomorrow. Figure out what's left in the grant so we can look at it and see. The only thing that should be left to do out there is whatever landscaping and planting, like we owe the abutting neighbors a line of shrubs or trees to give them the privacy. But I have to figure out what's remaining.
They were doing the fences today.
Yeah, the fence around the parking lot had all the verticals in.
Oh, now they're going horizontal.
And I don't know if they were gonna put more down around the train station site.
So I was there last week and posted on my page, but there are no fences or anything yet, and somebody already driven over the dirt area between the gravel.
I saw that, and I also saw settling of the earth where they put in the drainage pipes, Tara. You'll see it, the earth settled in where they put the drainage pipes in underneath.
Okay,
Suggestion about plantings is, let's extend permaculture.
it's all budget dependent and there's certain things that have to get done, but yes, I always have that as.
The same kinds of seeds.
Okay.
Paul's trying to,
On this, but Paul might have the answer to this if he doesn't. What is that concrete pad for?
That's for porta
That's
johns.
But that's what I want to mention, that's for the bike repair station.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's a big area.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be
one
both?
area for the repair station, and then there was an area for a bike stand. There was in the plan that we didn't get a bike stand.
Okay,
And the,
because I
question
found it
had-
curious that the porta potties on the gravel and not on that
I think,
concrete pad, and now there's a fence going up between them.
uh-oh,
So
that'll be a little
The
bit harder.
question is, they have not put in the bike stand yet. I gave it to them a month ago. And when they, just before they poured that, and the guy put it in the company truck. So hopefully it doesn't sit in the company truck for 4 weeks or something. Oh, this has been for 4 weeks, but we're still in here.
Oh, the repair stand?
thank
We're
you
gonna see
for
it
that
tomorrow.
particular update,
Mhm.
because yes, that's over a month that was given to them, I think, yeah.
So if you see him tomorrow,
so we didn't,
I will be seeing him
So-
tomorrow at 3.
so the guy I talked to was Chris, the guy that did the,
No,
So it's not Chris I'm meeting, it's
I know
the
he's
actual
doing
crew
the
chief, it's Ken,
landscape,
yeah,
but Chris is the guy that did the, all the excavating.
yeah, I think I still have his number, actually.
I presume that concrete pad was for 2 porta johns. I didn't think about the bike repair
still, it's
stand.
big enough to do like 10 there. That's why I was wondering why it was so large.
That bike station is huge.
Is it?
I went down the town garage and physically brought it over. They took it out in a forklift. They got a big bike repair station, then they got a hand pump. The hand pump weighs about, 100 pounds, big and rugged, tire pump. So there's 2 things that are going on.
I saw one out in the wild in Boston last year, and they are bigger than you think they are, looking at them online.
There's one.
just as far as, I saw the porta john guy today. that was cleaning it out, and I asked him if we needed a second, and he said he's been doing it 9 months, this one guy, and he doesn't think so, but they will call us and tell us if they think summer traffic requires a second one. But right now, the ADA one is not there, it's just a regular one.
So if we're gonna have one, it should be an ADA.
Right,
And it's become convenient for people driving by, because when I was there, contractor just drove up with his truck and his big trailer, and him and his passenger both got to use the porta john.
but
The
it's
public
not as,
service.
it's not as close to the road as it was, so it maybe, less.
Well, they needed that room for their trailer, because it was bigger than horse trailer.
Well, you're still talking about that area, that's, well, we're talking about that signage from the big blue ones, the historical signs that Joe recommended from last month, that'd fit nicely there. I don't know.
No, they're not big signs.
Yeah, they're-
Little signs, and they've taken over that project. They're still looking into it, because they have the same questions that we brought up about whether it fits any of the Pomeroy categories.
Okay, I saw a pilaster there for a sign to go on, right at the parking lot. So I figured that they were somebody's got something in mind for that, just as you're turning in. It's on
There
the,
was a stop sign. At the-
no, there's a concrete. I don't think I have any pictures of it.
Would it by any
So-
chance look like a random piece
Yeah,
of
it's
granite
just a-
curbing or
A
something?
stone they found when they were
I don't
excavating, they stick
Think
there.
so, but I
Because
didn't look at it closely.
the
When I
DPW,
saw it, it was from
was-
across the lot and I thought, oh, they're gonna put a sign on there.
No, DPW had put some extra
They did around
spare stone
The sign
material,
that-
right, around the sign that broke, yeah. To protect it from getting backed into again or whatever happened there.
I mean, right now, the exit is blocked with two big stones. Where the stop sign is, that's supposed to be the exit. You can't go in and out that way. You can
Oh,
only go in and out
the
where the
trail.
horse trailer
Yeah.
entrance is.
So the trail has those in there, that's to keep vehicles from coming in. And,
Right now.
yeah,
Is that permanent though?
Nope.
That's what I thought, it was permanent, so you don't drive vehicles on the trail. That you have to go.
Guys gotta be
But
driving.
why is there a stop
The
sign
trail.
at the end of that?
That's to stop people on the trail from crossing the road,
Okay.
like you have to stop there.
Can we get a flashing light like they have over here by the school for the crossings?
If we had a few thousand extra dollars,
Sure.
Do we have a price on those?
I have one
Are you
somewhere from, yeah.
I'm not necessarily offering, but we always look for things that we're gonna spend our money on.
We
and
did, we did look at that in the original design when we were trying to narrow down, what elements we were going to include from sort of the first, we want everything, and the cost effectiveness of that was not good. They're a few $1,000s each, and you have one, you got one on the other side. So we scrubbed it. I mean, when I worked out the budget, it didn't fit in the budget, so
Right.
what, that was putting.
I would just like to know how
together
much they cost. I don't know. I mean,
They're a couple few thousand.
again,
bucks.
if they're a few $1,000s, we obviously can't put them in every one, but again, at the one over by Anya's where the trail crosses, like.
But this is.
There's
part of what the alliance is-
there's not even a crosswalk or a sign at Anya's.
But
Which,
these are the
there's
things, the
people
People have
alliance,
asked about, I don't know, I
these
just,
are the things
no,
the
no.
alliance is working on for all the trail crossings.
Well, you segue right into the next one, so it's
Yeah.
the Alliance and
Well,
funding initiatives.
Wait, I just want to ask Paul, there's another foundation hole before you.
Yes.
What is that? Is that still gonna be dug up?
Yeah, I done that. That's where the switch house used to be.
Which house?
You dug that up?
Yeah.
Wow, I thought they found that. No, I
No,
saw.
no.
So they started,
There's another one.
that wasn't
Oh,
in their
there's
plan
something?
because we didn't know where that was at the time.
Yeah, that's the one I saw.
Yeah, it's a 12 by 12.
Yeah, and you found the foundation and yeah, it was pretty, I was impressed that that was found and that the brick area was found, the engine house or whatever it was called. I didn't realize, I said, wow, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they even found some parts and things that they left there.
Yeah.
So I just have one minor thing, and one of the look through the window signs,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of it, it goes, the cement center port that you can see today is one of the only remaining artifacts at the station grounds. So that's not really relevant anymore, because you've got all that other stuff exposed there, so.
Well, it's
If
still
we-
one of the only ones. I mean, there used to be a whole train station there.
Yes.
Come on.
That was one of the
It's a whole
first,
turntable and it's, yeah.
One
So
of the
if we
first
have to
ones.
fix those, let's remember to fix the verbiage,
Okay.
okay?
Okay, we through with the Alliance and Funding Initiative, or
No.
are we still talking about that?
No, we didn't get there.
All right, we're on the drainage and erosion issue.
No, I think.
Nope, we're
I
still
think-
at the Alliance.
Yeah,
So there was an alliance meeting on May 19th. And what I got out of it was that the state had not gotten any of those funding bond things out of committee, or they hadn't come through on committee, so the alliance was pushing for us to get funding for the whole trail into the state budget. And I guess, I don't know if it's tabled.
so I
or
believe
it's
the budget
never-
passed in the wee hours of the morning, but I don't know what is included in it. I was looking for a specific bill that I read today, but I wasn't looking at the budget.
So as of that meeting, that stuff had not gone out of committee to be in the budget, so I don't know if they've got any funding for recreational trails like they tried to get. The alliance where it stands now is they've got all their officers, but they're talking about postponing the timing of incorporating as a 501c3 in order to be able to apply for the next round of recreational trail grants. I don't know why that's a conflict, but that's what the guy in charge, what's his name, said, that they were gonna postpone doing the 501c3 incorporation because of trying to get more funding.
They would have gotten more funding the other way, didn't you think?
You know what, I was in that meeting, but I can tell you that I was dog tired while I was in there, and I do not remember. I remembered that line of conversation came up, but I also do not remember the rationale. If I have time, I can ask Jocelyn tomorrow, after I get done with the meeting up at. Good,
All right, so what they're working on now, the alliance is, the original grant had to incorporate an event, so they're talking about a full trail event for maybe May of 2026. And we would probably want to be involved in that in some way. But it would be easier to do the event on a town-owned piece of land, not on the state land, not actually on the trail, because you have to get all these permits for vendors and bands and things. So they're talking about maybe a site in Wyndham that is owned by the town and having this big trail party thing. And you know, with tables, like DOT would have a table, and West Green Valley might have a table, and Deep would have a table. Anyway, so that's possibly May of 2026. There's not a huge budget for it, but there is also in the grant budget to do a newsletter and to do a video. So they're working on that. And the 3 towns that don't have Z maps are getting Z maps. And I think that's about it for now. And they keep saying, these are recorded, but I haven't seen links to the recordings.
actually, I'm not sure if I've seen links to the recordings either, although they are definitely being made.
Yeah.
They're probably just getting plunked on the minutes for the following meeting.
Anyway.
Okay.
That's that.
Okay, so now we're on to drainage and erosion issues on the trail.
One point that came up, you talked about a big party in May of next year. And I'd like to have some, even if they're smaller. We've got the national parks helped us to plan the train wreck park area. I'd like to have an event that thanks them, a publicity event. Anything that we do, we're either gonna try to raise money or we're gonna try to raise publicity. And we're trying to raise publicity for the town. Anytime that we can get a group like that and out there and take pictures and put them in the newspaper and put them on Winnie and get people to think about, hey, oh, wow, look at this thing's coming along. The Last Green Valley, the other groups that helped during the process to this project. It's not finished, but it's further along than most of what the towns along the airline trail are doing, and it's, I think, an opportunity to encourage the rest of them.
Well, didn't we talk about when everything's done at the,
I think we were
Parking
talking
lot
about doing something in
in
the
the
fall.
fall?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I heard, because then it's done, okay?
It's never done, but it's more done,
Right.
it's more done. I don't
So
know,
a
I
ribbon- a
look at
ribbon
some of the
cut-
people and think, will I still be alive in this fall?
It would be nice to have the people that help from the Park Service, but that would also assume that they're still employed by the Park Service.
I understand that.
Steph actually is,
Okay.
but I can tell you that they came for the installation of the signs.
Yes.
Their policy, because they are so booked in that particular program, is to only go to the events for the projects that they're currently working on, because otherwise they have too many commitments.
Mhm.
They might be working with the town again, as it turns out. The Conservation Commission applied to that same technical assistance program to update the town's open space plan.
Oh, that's good.
I would
idea.
say the chances are very high it will get awarded, but we won't know until probably the end of the year.
Probably it'll be a low cost for them, but it's a good idea.
Well, it's a technical assistance program, so
Yeah.
technically the costs are,
Time to spend.
yeah, it's just, it's time spent. And I think there was a couple of grand that they offered us at the time to do things like pay the musician from the songwriting contest. And, but yeah, so I am actually expecting to see Steph and Elizabeth again next year, but.
I guess while we're
not in
looking
this
at Charlie's thing,
context.
do we have plans to do anything up there? Because I mean, right now technically it's going, I know it's never done, but I mean, if they're doing the fencing and the vegetation.
That is up to you guys. I mean, aside from having spoken about generally doing it in the fall, which I think is what we all agreed
A
to in the last
October
month.
event,
Whatever you guys want to do up there, I will help you organize.
I think I know that Joe Iamartino and Tom Chase and I have spoken at different times about Historical Society. Most of what they've been doing the last couple of years, it's in a box. They can bring it out, they can talk about the same points. But there's more to show the visitors up there. I don't like to wait any longer than we have to. But I don't know when to put it. I know I'm gonna be up there Saturday. I'm at the helping stage now.
But haven't we talked about doing something in the fall already?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
so-
we
so-
have.
I think-
So.
I think
So
we
it's just
can-
decide
So
what
we
you want to
should
do
come
and
up
we'll
with
make it happen.
all your ideas at the August meeting to,
when does it have to be submitted? Do you, I know you
June
don't,
16th, I think,
June 16th?
I think so. Yeah,
So
So
we
you'd
can
have
just
to come
reserve
up
a
with a
day and come
date.
up with the ideas,
Date.
right? And we can come up with the date and put something in for the date and just write that it is gonna be, again, what we've done there in the past with the historical train information at the new,
If we were to target the back end of the spring outdoor calendar,
it's not.
that's like next week.
Get invitations out. Charlie.
already done. Well,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
June.
just to say,
June
hey, here's a walk, people say, oh, look, it's the last thing to do, but
It's only got 2 weeks left, I think.
the procrastinators walk.
Well, I mean, then everybody at historical has to be available. I think you can't do it in 2 weeks. So weekends in September,
One of those is the Revolutionary War reenactment, I forget which day.
It's Indigenous Peoples / Columbus Day weekend,
That's October.
right?
It's like second or
I-
third Monday in
yeah.
October.
Something in September.
Community Day
No,
is the last Saturday and
October doesn't start till the 20th.
They'll put something in September at the end, generally.
yeah, so the Indigenous
If we put in
Peoples
something for Columbus
/
weekend, that's,
Columbus Day weekend
The
is
third,
Saturday, the 11th through Monday, the 13th of October. So I
I-
would say
I say no on that only
not on
because,
that one because everybody's going to be going to Woodstock for that Battle of Fairholme Farm.
oh, but it's also the, World Series at Thompson Speedway that weekend.
See, so many reasons not to do it that weekend.
I'm just saying traffic through there would be increased.
So the prior weekend, oh, I'm sorry, it's not the last Saturday in September, it's the first Saturday in October is Community Day. So if you go one more back, you're looking at Saturday, the 27th or Sunday, the 28th. So that is the last weekend of September. Or you could go after, in October, which would be
I got the
the
28th.
18th, 19th. Then the following weekend is October
Well, I think
25th,
we have-
26th. I will tell you right now, if I cannot do anything that weekend. If
So
you
the
need my
27th,
assistance.
28th, I have to give it up to historical. We're not doing the presentation.
And we also have something, don't we have the walk? When is that?
We have a walk scheduled already for October.
Well, in the cemetery, it's gonna be during the day. I forgot.
Oh, that's-
That one I think is the
that's on
weekend of
October
25th, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I think, again, we have to, again, I agree with the Historical Society, like you said, I think the 27th or 28th, we kind of see if that's something that would work
I'll
for
give
them.
them the option of that or the 11th, 12th.
Well, I know that the subject's already come up. They're the ones that have to make the final plan on it, but they're open to the idea of doing it almost any time. At least Joe was and Tom.
Except he makes all these other commitments, so.
You may have some other.
Can't do the 11th, 12th, that's the.
Yeah, I can't do the 11th,
That's the
12th,
World
that's that
Series of
Battle of
Racing,
Fairholme
Battle of Fairholme,
Farms,
like a
and the
lot going on.
Speedway thing and.
Yeah, because.
Just tell me when we think we wanna have it and I'll reach out to Joe again, or
I will.
27, September 27th, 28th sounds like your best bet.
I agree.
20. Do we wanna schedule?
The only,
both
the
things?
only other weekend that seemed possible
Gotta see what they
was
wanna do.
18th, 19th October, which is the weekend after.
Do we wanna
Columbus Day
schedule
weekend.
both days or just the one?
I thought you-
One might be a rain date,
Yep.
since Saturday seems to be a watering the lawns day for Mother Nature lately.
So if we
Thursday
schedule
through
it,
Saturday.
if we schedule it for Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, and rain date Sunday morning, 10 o'clock. How's that sound?
I will ask Joe. Then he'll have to ask. Yeah.
And you said to get it in October is,
June 16th, I believe. I don't know, because I'm not working.
yeah, I
there
know,
anymore.
that's why I just,
She just comes here.
I know.
She likes us better.
Well,
So
could blame her.
June 16th is like 2 weeks.
Well, I can probably tell you actually, hold on, let me go on their website. and See if there's a.
So for the Sunday thing. Historical Society has meetings every Sunday morning till noon time, so maybe 1 o'clock on a Sunday might be better.
Okay, 1 o'clock works for me. One,
But that would be the rain date.
yeah, rain date.
Yeah. But 10 a.m. on a Saturday
Yeah,
is still fine, Paul.
I guess so.
I mean, just to shoot for. I mean, we'll see what they say.
Yep, you just went by, it was June 16th.
No, I didn't, I was just looking at for the click on it button, so thank you, there you go, June 16th. Deadline to guarantee inclusion.
that's good to know. By September, by the way, before we were called to order, I mentioned something to Paul about train rails and wheels. I guess Joiah Martino reached out to Tom Chase and said, can you get us some? And he said, yes, he can. So it'll be just something up there on the train wreck site, just a visual. Won't cost us anything, so.
Well, that's something we would definitely have to discuss. I mean, rusty train wheels, I don't know, is this a hazard that we?
I see those at a lot of parks that
I
are
have to.
I'm not saying, I'm not
Stuff up
saying
there.
no, I'm just
common
saying,
motif.
I wouldn't want them to suddenly appear without
So
any
the
input.
plan would be, you've got a couple rails and just a wheel with an axle on it.
Yeah.
And they would all be spot welded so they don't move, so they're affixed.
We wouldn't be the first ones that put them.
I will leave you in charge of
All right,
letting us know if that's something that looks imminent and likely to happen.
well, we got pictures of other sites like that. That's
Okay.
That have come up.
Okay.
Seen one that they used, those that made a nice bench. Oh, I'll show it to you.
Talking about benches for eight.
Yeah,
I know.
Talking about benches on the trail would be
So
nice, there were benches on the trail.
there's a pile of leftover stone up there.
There's some stones.
And
left over,
those
that's
be
correct.
distributed as like seating areas.
And the reason those are left over, if you don't know, is because when we excavated the turntable, we actually found, like a third of the original turntable, we left it there, so we didn't have to use all the stone that we had. You know,
Yeah, that's what John had mentioned to me when I took the picture, that I thought it was all stones from Putnam, but he said that we found originals
The
of that.
stones where you see there's an entrance and an exit, those are all original on the bottom, and on the side, there were no stones on the side.
So the extra stone that you're talking about now is actual like formed turntable wall stones.
That they're all kind of,
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
and the stone that I put there for a little walkway by the sign,
Yes.
that's part of that also.
You
So
put that
I
there?
had to put that there. And then we put another stone in front of the sign, you can look through with the East Thompson
Yep,
sign on it.
yep.
So that people, so it's a little higher now, so you can
Yeah, I
actually.
took a picture of that lining up your sign perfectly with the original.
It does, I've done it, I've got a
But there are
video.
a few stones available to do other things.
Well, I'll see it all tomorrow.
Impressive, it's impressive. I wouldn't have thought we
Let's
could
move
put
on.
something like that on.
The landscaping, is it gonna be like some grass put down? There's a lot of weed stuff
Well,
coming
so
up that is.
this is part of what I have to talk about, because whatever is left in the budget is now gonna go towards the landscaping. So tomorrow, I'm gonna put his most recent invoice, which includes all the construction work to this point, figure out what's left in the grant budget, and that's what I'm gonna go and say, hey, we have X amount of money left in this budget now for landscaping. Which things have to be done, which things are,
All right, because there's all this weedy stuff coming up that we don't want to end up having them mow.
Yeah, because all along all the structure,
Some of it's very
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
invasive,
everything's just gonna grow.
right, especially right at
well,
the,
that's part of what
repair
I'm figuring
barn.
out tomorrow, so.
on the left-hand side of the repair barn, there's that jewelry looking stuff that's an Asian import. But I like those ferns in the
We
sunlight.
saw
That's-
ladies looking
Up there?
on the trail.
I found a bunch of them up there.
I mean, there used to be a lot in the cattle bridge.
They don't come up every year though. That's why it's not good to pick and move them. They do move around and
A
it
lot of
takes them
people
like,
prospect for them too.
yeah, it takes many years for it to
Yeah,
come up from
And
the seed.
prospecting for them actually almost always results in failure because they actually
don't
have a
like to-
relationship with the specific soil they're in. so.
I did find a bunch. I have pictures just last week. I found a bunch, different spots on the trail.
So, oh, but
What were they?
Lady slippers.
Oh, yeah. I've
That's why I
seen-
was, when I was talking to Paul, because Paul and I talked about, again, maintenance, I know is coming up, but we tried to get together a couple times and, to do some stuff, and I wanted to wait till the lady slippers had come and gone before we did any mowing, so we didn't inadvertently mow
Good.
stuff.
They're kind of that purpley color.
Hmm.
I was walking along the trail with a couple that was visiting. And I see this purple at the side. I said, oh, look at that. I thought I was looking at a lady slipper. It was one of those dog, pick up after your dog bags. I said, I guess that's why you were looking at me kind of funny when I was pointing. Yes, it was just about the same color. You gotta enjoy life,
Sure.
or you get arrested.
Oh, we're back, have we done erosion and drainage yet?
I don't think
There's
so.
no change, I mean, nothing's changed. Right? I
Haven't
haven't
heard
heard
anything.
anything from DOT or anything.
No, but it was interesting in that meeting that they were talking about erosion or something somewhere else, and to get people to look at it, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty upset hearing that in that meeting. They had a chipmunk hole in the middle of the trail that they wanted somebody to go address. I'm like, you could fall into, a car could fall into the erosion that we have, and they were talking about a chipmunk hole, and I was just like. And I get it, and I think all are important, but I'm just saying, we've talked about ours for over a year now, and there's been no movement. I mean, you can't get a truck up there to just put some rocks so it doesn't keep eroding and people don't fall in it and get hurt. Just doesn't
Well,
make sense.
John, it's easier to ask forgiveness than to give permission. Let's go.
Again, I think we're just a little too far north on the trail to get that kind of attention, and yes, I said it.
No, we're the part that doesn't have the East Coast Greenway in it.
Mhm.
They get budget.
Okay, so we're not gonna get too far with that, so we're
Nope.
on to North Groverdale River Trail signs.
Well, we still don't have it.
Have I said that to you?
No.
Okay. Like I said, I don't work there. I will be going in next week. So
Okay, so I mean, if
It's on
they're
my-
finished, then we're gonna go
Yes.
and ask somebody out.
You should
If-
tell
if-
Carly that she should start coming to these then.
if they're finished,
If they're finished, then we'll see if we can have them
I don't even know that,
fabricated,
'cause-
okay.
because I'm there so seldom, I can't even figure my own stuff out.
Hmm.
Do we wanna touch a little bit more on the maintenance and the work days, or?
And I think I might do a trip this week down the trail just to check out the whole trail and see what needs to be done, or I haven't been down the trail in a long time.
They look kind of bushy on.
Mechanicsville sign.
I'm not,
Well, yes, the Mechanicsville parking lot looks.
I'm just gonna take the Kubota down and just drive the whole trail and.
We already know that addressing the drainage ditches in general is a job bigger than we readily can handle. The section between where the train station was and the 5 Mile River has some stagnant pools there. They have a very rich biological smell when you get anywhere near them.
That's a nice.
Mostly rotted leaves, but.
I like that.
And I don't know if the beaver colony is trying to build a dam where the 5 Mile River goes underneath the airline trail, because there's an awful lot of trees down in that area.
So I want to say I think it is, and I think somebody who's local to there has been cleaning it out, because if you look, there's a pile of stuff that's been taken out of the river there. And they used to have a dam on the other side by where the trail is that Paul worked on. There used to be a dam over there, and I don't think there's a dam over there anymore, because that used to be more of a big pond than the river going through there. I haven't been over on that side in a bit.
I was yesterday for the first time in quite a while, but.
I don't think I'm gonna be available this week, Paul, but
Well, that's
if you're just gonna go for a ride,
I'm not
Okay.
gonna do maintenance, I just wanna. You know,
Cruise.
you know,
Cruise
just
is good.
make a note of what needs to be done, then we can schedule maintenance.
okay,
Correct.
and I'll put it up on the website, and I'll send you an email about that, Karen, if we schedule something, so.
And the trailer is still at your house, right? I saw it there a few days ago.
Yes, yeah.
I don't know if they,
Nothing's come out of it.
I don't know if
yet.
they need it for touch a truck, which is this week, I think. I know Amanda keeps hinting, so.
Where is Touch a Truck?
The library.
Oh,
This Thursday.
Oh. I'm not
Yeah, you did,
available.
but if I'm free, and I might be.
All right, we're up to Wyndham Land Trust updates, any of that?
I haven't heard anything new there.
No, but that you reminded me, there's a small parcel up in that area where the north of the train station. The Butler's own part of it. The East Thompson, Rod and Gun Club owns part, Wyndham Land Trust owns part, there's a small parcel there. I'd forgotten about it completely. I'm gonna talk to Michael, he asked me to keep an eye out for properties that, it's landlocked. The guy wanted to take timber off and the neighbors all said, no, you can't come across our property with
I
it.
don't know if it's landlocked, but that board is a Long Pond.
Yes.
But I think you can go up through Indian Inn Road and down and back over there and get access to it that way.
The only way that he could have gotten the lumber out was to get permission from neighbors, so. I don't know, I just know that when that topic came up, it was peripheral, but I recognized it because it was connected to the railroad side.
Okay, so we're on to events, Spring Outdoor Connecticut Trail Days, you're doing that, you're doing the Tri-State Marker on the 7th?
This Saturday, yeah,
Saturday.
at 9 o'clock, we're doing the tri-state marker
Okay.
hike. I will say again, they look for things, there's only 2 up here in the Northeast. I mean, there's some stuff in other neighboring towns and stuff, but I have one person signed up. My daughter. I do have a couple other people that are coming. My other daughter is gonna come, and I have a couple other people that are gonna come too, that's it. So again, if
Don't have
anybody
any more
wants to
daughters?
come.
So you-
No, I don't.
Your daughters have friends.
Huh? I don't know.
Jared might get a private tour.
If he comes, yeah, I'm thinking also the weather related, people kind of wait sometimes to make sure that,
Yes, and guess what, it's supposed to have showers this.
I know. I didn't put a rain date, so unless it's absolutely miserable, I mean,
No,
I think it's gonna happen,
The
so.
problem with that Connecticut Trails Day is there is so many.
It's over
things
200, yeah.
That you
Yeah.
can't possibly be everywhere,
No.
Right.
and once you've done the Tri-State Marker once, that was enough for me.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna say, I mean, I do have a lot of friends that are always like, oh, well, tell me when you're going up there, and I put it on all my social medias and blah, 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 so maybe I have another person that I know that said might be showing up too, so.
I was thinking we could raise the difficulty factor and do it in our bare feet.
Oh,
I'm out.
God.
Knock yourself out.
Yeah, I'm out.
We're
That
on
before or
to-
after you put up your zip line up there?
Yeah.
we're on to Community Day, do
I
we
know where we
usually
could
have,
put one in.
do we usually have the tent up for Community Day?
Yeah. Well,
So you have the trailer, but that, you usually have a conflict that day, right? I think you brought it and then left and come back because of whatever fire department. Hmm.
October
I
4th.
don't know if I do, I think there might be a chicken barbecue that day.
Hmm.
oh, yeah,
That's
that's
Saturday.
unusual.
There's one
Yeah.
this Saturday.
There's one on Saturday, yes.
You do
Yeah.
2 a year?
We do 2 a year, and then the clams and clam cakes and fritters is in July. So we have 3 fundraising events.
I don't plan stuff.
Oh. So yes, we have one Saturday, 4 to 7 at the fire station. It's a drive-through like we've been doing since
Not
COVID.
pre-orders, you just go up and buy.
Yeah,
Do you guys put up another sign
But
further
we
south?
can decide at the
along Route
August 21
21
and
or
have a.
something?
there might be one, I'm not sure. I didn't
Well,
put them
we
up
wanna
this
I
year.
drove by and saw a chicken.
If we
I
can
said,
get the
"What?"
trailer up there, then some of
was
us
that?
will need to stick with the trailer.
Okay. Cause I
We're
usually
gonna
help
get
out
some
at
chicken.
Community Day, I think I'm at the. Am I at the gate? I don't remember. All right, so we're on to October, the train wreck site tour plans needed in April to be submitted for the guide.
Okay.
So you guys already
Yeah,
talked
we
about
did
that and you're
Right,
penciling in the last weekend of September.
right.
And then the cemetery history tour is 10/25 and the rain date's 10/26. Brian, you're on.
Can I just ask one question about that? I'm sorry, Brian. It's at 1 o'clock, that one, right? The cemetery one?
Oh, the cemetery?
It says. it says
3
p.m.
o'clock. Okay, 3. I know we're not doing it at night. We moved it to
No.
tonight. I just wanna,
No more at
Yeah.
night.
yep. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
Usual, not much to add yet. We haven't had a meeting yet. We did send out our sponsorship letters early this year, which has resulted in about 4,500 received so far, including from Bank Hometown. Don't think we've had confirmation from Centerville yet. They have to submit it to their committees. G7, even though they're for sale, Amy and Jason have committed to continuing to sponsor this year. We have had two sponsors decrease their levels. Heritage Valley Ford, who did the kilometer marking, dropped from 750 to 500. So that sponsorship is now available. Thompson Speedway dropped theirs again down to 125 this year. Plus, we still don't know about Pump Connection since that business was sold to La Framboise. So I don't have my neighbors as a connection for that one, and they were $500 sponsors. So right there, we have almost $1,000 at risk from last year. So don't know. That's where the gentleman who didn't make it here today, when he heard about some of this at EDC, had offered his help because one of his businesses is in marketing, and he gave me a few ideas, a lot of which we really kind of do, just not aggressively. It sounds like he'd be a more aggressive sales pitch type guy. I'm not that kind of guy, so
No, he's a alpha energy kind of guy.
yeah.
I may have somebody who might be willing to take a substantial sponsorship for you, but we'll talk about that later.
Can I ask, do we have a date? Did we set a date or we
It
haven't?
was the 9th.
It is the 9th. I'm just double checking.
And you know that we are switched to run sign up instead of race wire. It wasn't finalized till about a week and a half ago, so I haven't published it on the trails page, the Turkey Trot page yet. But they have a greater reach across the state, and we actually have 2 people that have already registered to run the race, which we don't get anyone before September normally, so their outreach ability exceeds what RaceWire had, because they pretty much cover most of the events in Connecticut. So we might get more participants even if we drop a bit in sponsorship, so hopefully they balance.
That's the downside of having continuously growth.
I know, but it's so disappointing when I don't have it. That's my goal.
It's early.
It is.
No, I know it's very,
What time do we usually go at noon the day before to set up our stuff? Is
I
that?
believe it's noon, yeah.
All right, I might have a conflict to be a little bit late, but not super late. Somebody asked me to help with a hike the day before, that's all.
We can vary the time.
No.
That just worked the last 2 years, so.
It would be something like 12:30 instead of 12, that I would be there, so it's not.
I like having you climb the ladders and Peter,
Yes.
I prefer standing on the ground.
I just wanted to put that bug.
And
in
you
so we know.
help me not get lost in the trails. We're putting the kilometer signs out if we have a sponsor for it.
Okay, are we set, Brian?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
Social media, PR, outreach, maps, brochures, and flyers, Facebook posts.
So I'll just say, we're doing pretty good on that. I don't know, we have like 1,100 followers, I guess is what you would say on there.
That's a.
So we do pretty good. I will say, I don't know. When we post a lot, we get a lot more action going on. I mean, with
That's how it
anything,
works,
yeah.
yeah.
So when we had a lot of stuff and we were posting and things were going boo, 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 and then,
Well, I never put the stuff in there from the train wreck park that I took, but now
No.
we could get more updated signs.
yeah. I walked a few of the trails and I just threw up some videos that I had taken just walking of the trails and stuff, so. I have a
Somebody
couple more.
posted on the state trail page just today, I think, that they were at the Tri-State Marker and the Cattle Bridge in Burrillville. I said, no, that would be in Thompson.
I did see that too.
Proofread.
Well, the
But if you mark up there a location, it gives you the option of Thompson or Barrowville. It does.
Does it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Again, tri-state marker.
Well, Tri-State Marker, yeah, but the Cattle Bridge.
Oh, they were at the cat. Okay.
Mhm.
The past state archaeologist just did a talk in Putnam on Saturday, and he's got a new book out, and Thompson with the Cattle Bridge and the Tri-State Marker in his book.
Oh, do we know the name of the book?
Hiking,
The-
New England ruins, something.
Something like that. What's the name of Nick's book?
Something like that.
Who's the author? You said Nick?
Nick Bellatoni.
Wouldn't that be funny if all the books were just titled something like that?
New England what?
Hiking New
So he's
England
got-
ruins?
He's
Something.
got like
Woods?
all the,
Ruins.
like
Ruins.
old mills and things from different towns into Massachusetts and a couple in Rhode Island, but it's, so it's a comprehensive, how long the hike is, what to see along, but because he's a archaeologist, he's got the history of all these sites.
Neat.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
I'll look it up.
Okay, bike route map,
I don't have any update.
okay. Signage over 395 ramp to Route 12 on the railroad trestle bridge.
Well,
You did your communication.
and then I dropped it. Okay, so to do something like this, I was trying to get like a yes or a no first, so I went to DOT first. And he said, oh, but the Deep owns the bridge, and so first, so we have no yes or nos from anybody. And they sent me on all this, go see this and go see that, and then there was supposed to be a meeting.
That
I
never
a
got set up.
doodle poll, and it never got set up, and I wrote to Kim Bradley just before the last two possible dates, and she didn't get back to me. So it never happened that we were going to be meeting with all these people. So there's Daniel McBride from DOT, and there's Kim Bradley, and
Jeremy
there's
Hall.
Jeremy and Marcella Hube and Eric Gillo or whatever. Anyway, everybody keeps talking about these standard maintenance agreements. So it's whether I can't even, it's too confusing for me. When when the Alliance finally gets its act together and the whole trail, and if there's funding for the whole trail, they're saying if we have a maintenance agreement for a sign on the bridge, it should be part of a standard agreement of the whole thing, and that maybe the town takes over from the state, and then the town would have to decide if they want to do that, and it's better if they wait until it's all fixed, so the town is taking over it perfectly maintained, all the stone dust and everything is fixed before the town takes over, but I don't even know if the town wants to take it over, so it's really complicated, and I think also to ask to do these signs, we have to get all the, like, actually, what do we want to put up there? So that means going out for quotes, and I haven't done it, I'm not. This is your idea, if you feel strongly about it, then we can talk more about getting some background information to go back to the state with.
I'd be
But
happy
it's
to,
all
I'd be
these-
happy to, and I certainly want
can
to attend the
explore-
meeting with all those people.
Well, you can explore how we would do it. Like, he sent me to talk to somebody else about whether we could even paint the,
Isn't that
the,
amazing? All of these high-priced professionals and they can't figure out what.
well, they can figure out, but there's all these hoops you have to go through. And so the meeting where we were gonna talk about what are the hoops and what are the options didn't happen. That's all I want to say about this.
And it's been that way since I got involved with
Well-
Connecticut.
Okay, but that's the way it is, right? I mean, I think that DEEP, they're still trying to figure out their format for these maintenance agreements.
And I
And
can't,
the
that-
fact
that-
that there's an alliance is pushing them to do that, otherwise they'd probably take 10 years to do it. They're not
Well,
really
they may still take
take
10 years,
10 years
but
to do it, right? So,
I'm not gonna lie, for me to get geocaches on there was the same thing, because this one said this one gives permission and this one gives permission and this, until we finally could get somebody that would say, yes, you can put geocaches on the.
well, but they're
Airline
not
trail.
gonna say we can put a sign.
No,
on
I
the
know.
Bridge.
It's
They're
definitely a
gonna
bigger
say-
leap.
Right, it's a bigger leap.
Yeah.
I was having the same results working with DOT before COVID, and everybody that I knew retired.
Well, I don't want you doing any separate communications with these people. I want it to go through the committee, okay?
Well, they don't seem to understand what I'm asking.
Well, I don't understand what you're asking half the time either, okay? So I wanted to go through me to these people and keep it on a,
Yeah, because I'll ruffle their feathers. I'm gonna start kicking teeth.
well, don't please.
So I had one thing, I don't know if it should have been in correspondence or trails or whatever, but I was talking, that's why I asked Brian when the Turkey Trot was, because I was asked and they wanted me to mention again, and I told them that we would be sponsored for it, not that we have to put anything into it. Marcy, who used to work for the Last Green Valley and is a volunteer at the Last Green Valley, like I am, asked me if I would help. She is planning to do walks every second Saturday of the month, and she's going to do one in November, which is the Saturday before the Turkey Trot. And she's gonna go from the train wreck park to the Mass Line, and she's gonna do rail trails where seniors can take part in it, where it's not super steep and climbing. And she asked if I would help her do that, and I'm probably gonna do like a tri-state marker if there's anybody in that group that's interested to do it. Just to bring them up there. If not, then we're just gonna do the rail trail to the Mass Line. But I just wanted to let you know, it is October, she said November 1st, but it's November 8th, I believe. The 9th is the Turkey Trot.
So the day.
Yeah,
before, the day.
Oh, the second Saturday.
The
Yeah.
second Saturday of the month.
So I believe that is also gonna probably go into the Walktober guide as one. She was just asking me to help, and I'm just gonna let you know that we're gonna put the Trails Committee is gonna be sponsored to that. That will be me helping her with that walk.
She mentioned that to me too, and it sounded like she was putting it in October.
Yeah, she sent me an email this morning, so I told her that I would mention it today during the meeting.
All right, we're on to reports from neighboring towns.
So that impacts when you can help Brian with setup.
Yeah, but it's 9 o'clock in the morning and we're gonna go to the Mass Line and back, so it's not even 2 miles, so even if it takes 2 hours, it's 11. That's why I was saying it might be 12:30 instead of 12 o'clock for me, but it's not gonna be a major thing. I think we'll be good. I think 12 o'clock will even still work.
You can't ask most.
But I think 12 o'clock will still work. I mean, it's only gonna be, even if it's 3 hours, that's 9, 10, 11. That would take me to 12, and then I would just go right there from the tri-state marker. That's 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Report from neighboring towns, no neighboring towns?
No neighboring towns that I see.
Connecticut Trail Census?
The equipment's working. I haven't been in correspondence directly with the team.
Do you think that, well, you don't know how big a group you're gonna have on Saturday. Is there any way you can do it, like calibration?
Yeah, I suppose I could calibrate it on Saturday, but this coming Saturday after the walk or before the walk, I can't do it while I'm part of the walk because there'll be other people down.
But if it's a small enough group, we could have you stay in the parking lot if you wanted to and direct anybody who's late shows. I have me, you and Kevin doing it, so I'm saying if it's 5 people
We'll play that by ear.
Okay, I mean, if you can just do a sheet.
for an hour. I
For
mean,
an hour down and back, same number, 5 people, 5 people. Okay.
I think that I would like to suggest a temporary installation of one between the parking lot and the train wreck site or the train station site. Temporary anyway, we can see what kind of attendance we get.
Yeah, so a lot of people might walk out there and walk back.
I've had people ask me where the tri-state marker was as they were heading towards the train station site. So they're aware of it, but they, you know, in their mind's eye, they thought it was a long distance away.
Yeah, Paul made that little sign
It's a
that's. on
sign.
Yes.
the kiosk, which is good, but maybe.
Yeah,
not-
because-
We need another sign.
Up by
Yes,
190.
I'm saying that.
That was over by the
Nobody
kiosk,
Right.
and there's almost a tendency to leave the car and head right towards the train station site. I
I
think
mean, maybe we want something like that hanging on the gate that
maybe,
says tri-state marker hike is across the road.
maybe. Something that makes it, you know, they say first you make it foolproof, then you make it damn foolproof, but maybe we can't do that.
Okay, we're on to equipment, tools, status, and maintenance.
Nothing new on my side.
Don't need
Other
any,
than we got-
don't need any funds for,
We already
We
approved
gas
that for
fees.
gas. We already did that and we haven't
Okay.
bought any, so I think we're good.
Right, I guess it Karen.
all right,
Cash.
okay. 65 Main,
We do have updates. I think as you guys know, I took an extension through the end of June, which was originally supposed to be the end of March, so I could get all the pieces wrapped up. I have officially done all the first filings for the 501c3 that will live there. In fact, I completed the IRS filing today. We have expanded the scope of the site work design from just that bottom lands portion, which we've probably got to 60% plans complete on that, to include the stuff on the upper portion, the actual building lot. We have, we've had all along confirmed partnership with the American Chestnut Foundation to provide 5 to 10 either stratified seeds or actual seedlings. And then I made a connection, I think I told you guys last time, with another grantee under the UAIP program, a group called Regenerative Roots based in New Hampshire. They are going to provide, I think it was up to 10 fruit orchard plants for free. I mean, it's a part of their grant is to plant public fruit orchards. So that will all happen. And that's why we expanded the scope to include, well, we had more money in the grant. So we expanded the scope to include as much of that concept design that our permaculture consultant provided for us as we can. And I also talked today to the civil engineering firm, the designer who's working on the Main Street reconstruction, Main Street and the sidewalks. Because what we discovered in the meeting I had last week with the site designers for the 65 Main site is that although technically the building will be ADA accessible on the ground floor and the basement floor, the parking area, which leads to the basement floor, yes, that entrance will be ADA accessible, but the grade is terrible. So we're going to work on the grade, but it's probably not really possible to get that really
Not in that short span.
improved. So I asked the designer for the Main Street project today if he can steal some space from the sidewalks that are adjacent to the building to add a handicap parking spot in front. So he's going to explore that, 1 or 2 handicap parking spots in front. The contract, I still don't have the contract for the SIP grant, which is the $4-ish million that will, in addition to doing Main Street and the sidewalk, finish the renovation. But when I got back from vacation in late May, I did get all of my first round of paperwork to the state so that they can complete a financial assistance proposal to us. So this all goes in steps. So what I completed was a project administration and maintenance document. Sign that, get that out to them. They will return to me a financial assistance proposal. Go over that, make sure everybody agrees to it. Then I get that back to them, and then they send a contract signed by the state. And at that point, we can go out to bid for the rest of the architectural on that. So when we have our MISRAC meeting next Friday, I'm going to ask Steve Lewis, who is a retired architect who is on MISRAC, to assist me in writing an RFP for the architectural services so I can get it over to DECD so everything can be approved and we can go straight out to bid when the contracts are signed. And there is your 65 Main update.
Yeah. All right, we're on to new agenda items for future meetings. Nothing being heard?
I have a question, I guess. Over where the train wreck site is, and where they did the train depot that came up, that's town property right now?
The piece of the Butler's property currently is owned by us while we're working on it. At some point, could be at any point really, I have to open a conversation with Deep to transfer the ownership of the turntable site to the state, because it makes 0 sense for the town to own a ½ acre, which is a part of the airline trail.
Would it make sense to maybe put some park benches up in that area before it's ours, we can put things, we don't have to ask for permission. But I'm saying, I don't know, as a committee, is that something that we'd want to spend some money to put some benches in that area for
I
people to
was
sit?
wondering if some of the stones.
Well, I
that
think
are
the
extra-
stones are a good option since they're there. The reason there's no benches is because, again, when we went from all the bells and whistles,
Mhm.
benches were included in that. As we had to whittle it down
Yep.
to the amount of money that we got awarded, benches came out, so did
But
the little.
I also know
pavilion.
we've talked about putting benches on the airline trail in different parts, and we have to get approval through DEP, and they won't, again, same thing that we're getting with other things, it's just hoops to jump through that are leading to nowhere. But I'm saying, if we wanted to put some in that site, would it be smart to do before we gave it to the state?
The biggest concern is
Stability.
moving them out. I know the town garage could come down with a front end loader or something, or, you know.
I can ask Joe if they'd be willing to do that. I mean, obviously, this is nice weather, which is when they're gonna have their highest burden of actual road maintenance and parks maintenance and whatever. But Joe did go out there and fix that sign, for us and drop those extra pieces of granite curbing they had. So he might.
It's just the thought that I had, so I just figured it's not ours, and then we gotta ask everybody and their uncle for permission to put something in there, do we wanna put something there before that happens?
I have a thought that maybe it's time because of what he said, it's town-owned property. It occurs to me that since we don't have money for the bells and whistles and we couldn't get a pavilion for a picnic table, we could probably build one. There's enough trees that are standing in between where the train station was and the parking area that are distressed. And they could be used for poles. We could build a pole and beam and roof.
Or you could just go out and buy one.
I was just thinking about a very interesting historical
Somebody actually
aspect
mentioned
project, but
There's a perfect spot for a picnic table. That would be right where the horse parking lot is. Behind that, there's a big flat surface that goes all the way up to behind the, where the bike racks
See?
used to be. Yeah.
I would have put one right in the
Area.
middle where the train
Well,
station was.
It sounds like it might be problematic to locate anything back there, but again, there is no budget for picnic tables.
I would have put it
There's
right
no
where the
money.
train
but-
station was, same footprint, same roof size.
We always say, what are we spending our money on? And not that I say we spend, all of our money, but we have $14,719. That's money that we've raised. And again, I'm not an
And we
advocate to
raised
spend all of that.
For us to be
For
able to
stuff.
do things.
Well, I mean, that. When I say no money,
Yep.
I mean no money in the grant.
Yeah,
What you guys choose to do with your budget,
Right.
obviously.
But that's why I bring it up here, because that's our
I'm
money
not
and we're the
opposed
committee who
to buying a
designs.
kit and putting
decides-
it up. I just thought it would be fun to,
Whatever you put there, it needs to be anchored down, otherwise.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh,
and
I
I can tell you from having purchased a couple for actually the 65 Main project, that the ones that are sort of rated for that kind of public use, they
Not
are
cheap.
not cheap. But you do have a budget, you certainly, I could either get copies of, a play equipment, because they're the same companies that do playground equipment. Parks and playground equipment catalog, I could have them sent, so you guys could look at them. I mean, the websites
So
are
we
there
do
too. The
that?
websites can sometimes be a little hard to navigate.
can we get maybe some of that for the next meeting?
Yeah.
To discuss it and maybe make a decision if that's something we want to do or not do.
Benches
because
or picnic table? I
Yes.
lost it.
If we have the
Yeah,
prices
that's
of
all.
both, I mean, I'm not saying we would do both, but I don't want to necessarily limit what our thought process would be. Because maybe it would be good to put a couple picnic tables, or maybe it's better to put just a couple benches.
I wonder, the one in Pomfret was there before the airline trail really started to come along, but that's an interesting project and perhaps more
The one,
robust than Pomfret.
the one in Pomfret though.
Train
Train
station.
station site.
Oh,
They have a pavilion which is the size, I presume, of what the train station was there. It's a very heavy duty, robust building, more than I was thinking we'd build. But,
Again, I was thinking picnic tables and benches, I don't know.
yeah,
I mean, I can quickly go back in and tell you how I priced out from engineers, estimates, let's see which one. Let me look at this one. The original award, because that was
So
before.
Charlie, thinking like at the parking lot or at the site?
My original thought was at the site. I mean, I wasn't thinking about picnic tables where Charlie was suggesting, but I was thinking at maybe in the area where the turntable is and the engine house.
Somewhere down in
Something nice
that
over there
area,
with
I was
something.
thinking would make a nice pavilion and picnic area. That's just my thinking.
It's not that one.
What is our sort of plan for like keeping the vegetation down around those?
Good question.
He told me
Right
wood
now, it's
chips.
just dirt.
I think we
It's
should
gonna-
plant
how
native
they know It's
flowers.
gonna be just, they're done with that, just dirt.
I thought he had told me wood chips were
They
going
were-
all
they
around
were-
there,
That's what they.
but that might have been.
But
I think we,
Well, all right,
all
so
the
I
wood
have,
chips, they trucked out when they did all the trees, so.
so I have a question, just like while she's looking, the budget. You unearthed extra buildings that we didn't plan on. Where did all that gravel that's inside those come from this current budget?
What?
You had the turntable, but now we've got the foundation for this, the train, the station.
Yeah, well, that was.
And that's full of gravel, and then
Yeah,
the work area to the far side,
you mean crushed stone?
the crushed stone, did that all come out of this budget? We had.
Yeah, that was from the budget.
2,500 apiece.
there's not much down where the train repair part was. A little bit, but mostly it's the
And this
bricks
is
and
also
the natural.
That was the one I
4
think,
years ago, so prices probably went up
I
a
think
bit.
that's the one I looked up because I was looking at recycled.
See, so that was what, $8,000
Where?
for a pavilion?
20,000 for the picnic table.
20,000 for 8-foot tables, recycled plastic ADA accessible surface pedestal mounts from theparkcatalog.com. Oh, so I even have, we can even see if that's gone up.
But that's with the pavilion and tables.
No, that's the
Just
tables.
the table.
For the pavilion, it's not with.
Tax 6 item F
tables.
picnic
So-
pavilion.
But that was the stuff that was gonna go in the pavilion.
The pavilion was $44,000.
We don't have that in our budget.
We need a whole lot more stones.
A lot more races.
For that.
So this
It
one
may
might
not
not
even
even,
exist anymore.
this one.
Well,
might
that's
not
why I
even-
wanna build one out of dead trees.
But that was the estimate.
Come
I had
on,
at the
let's
time,
be
so.
pioneers, let's be.
Well, if you know how to do that, go on the Facebook page and get a crew to clap with you.
I've seen them on Facebook page, but I don't have the tools.
So I just have one more thing, and it's, hopefully this isn't very big. I looked up that book that you guys said, and it's Hiking Ruins of Southern New England, a guide to 40 sites in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And it's co-authored by Barbara Ann Kipfner
Yeah.
and Nick Ballantoni. So I just put Hiking Ruins of Connecticut, and I found that in my Google search, so.
It's hiking ruins of southern New England.
Yep.
We should really consider the stones.
The stones to me are a perfect
And that's
solution
very
because they're there already.
I don't disagree. That saves us money.
And they're nice,
And they're site
How many
specific.
stones do we have?
Yeah.
and it's cheap.
They're all
Ish.
different sizes,
Ten?
maybe.
Well, again, that's definitely cheaper because we could probably spend less than that to have somebody help us do that if the town doesn't have the availability to help. I mean, they're busy.
Yes, when I loader or backhoe or something.
Yeah. Mini excavator, one of those things that I don't have.
Call for volunteers. Volunteer your mini excavator, you can drive it.
Well,
Yeah.
again, if you're talking about you have budget that you can expend, if you've got your materials for free, and then the only thing you have to do is pay for a professional to come help move big, heavy things, that's a reasonable expense.
And then pizza for when we're done.
All right,
All right,
We can't buy beer, but we can buy
I'll make
pizza.
a motion to adjourn.
But you gotta go out and sort of look at where some good
I'm trying,
good
Paul, I'm
spot.
trying.
Yeah.
Decide that.
Move
I just wanted to
adjourn.
think about that before we,
Move
yeah.
to adjourn.
Well, that's what we're trying to do, but people keep on commenting, so. Next business meeting is August 4th, 2025, and I make a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion. to adjourn.
Second,
Everybody makes a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye.
don't let the door hit you in the back. Aye,
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
good evening.